Well, hello friends, Scott Martin here. I want to chat with you about something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like, what does it mean to lead from the root level? And here's what I mean. You've got two schools. Two schools can look nearly identical from the outside. They can have similar schedules, similar curriculum. They can be teaching from the same textbooks. They even have similar Friday pep assemblies. But you know it when you walk in the door. One of them feels uptight, anxious. There's a lot of worry and stress. And you walk in the other one and it feels hopeful and energetic and alive and engaging. And to me, I think the difference between these two schools, even when everything else on the surface is almost exactly the same, is almost never what you really see. To me, the difference is the root system. See, when a person walks onto your campus, what they see is the visible school. They see the buildings, they see the bulletin boards, the hallways, the faculty. They may know some of the programs you offer, the extracurriculars, the band, the drama, the football. They may know the data, the initiatives, the documentation, the policies. But that's just the surface. What somebody's actually encountering, whether they know it or not, is the root system underneath all of that. And it's at the root system, I feel like, the leader is the most vital, most necessary. Because you see, the people who encounter your school, they're encountering a culture of trust or distrust that exists between leadership and faculty. They're encountering the degree to which students feel generally known and valued by the adults in the building, the health or dysfunction of the team, the clarity or confusion about your school's purpose, the presence or absence of psychological safety. Everything that is visible in your school is really just an expression of the root system. Which is why, to me, school administration at its most fundamental and vital level is actually root work. I've often thought about schools as trees. And we think about, like, our students are the most important thing in our care as leaders, and they are of immense importance, for sure. But the students are the leaves. They're at the very kind of end of the system. They're there. And our job is to feed them with curriculum and with purpose and with meaning and to help them flourish and thrive. But it's ultimately to release them. And then you've got the branches, which are the faculty. Then you've got the trunk, which might be the leadership team. But deep, deep underneath the soil, those are the roots. And that's where I think school administrators need to be focusing their most important and vital attention, is tending to the root system. For it's the roots that give support and life to the whole. Which to me, again, reminds me that deep administration is always, always root work. To lead from the roots is to understand that our work is to tend our schools at that root level. Not just ask, what is our school producing? What are our test scores? But what are we rooted in? And are we tending and cultivating a soil that helps the entire ecosystem grow? It's not just to ask, is this teacher effective, but is this teacher alive in their work? And what would it take to help them go deeper and not just wider? It's the work of the leader to not just know the names of the students, but the stories beneath their names. To understand the hopes and the fears and the challenges and the opportunities that spring up from the root level. And so, my friends, my invitation to you is to think about, how are you leading from the roots? What are the roots of your school? Not just what's happening on the surface, but what's happening in the soil, and are you tending to those? Have a wonderful day and blessings on the journey.